Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about 7 email hacks that you aren't leveraging but should. So I'll go first. From the carry on from the last episode, if you haven't listened to the last one, listen to it. It's about the number one job email marketing is supposed to do. One thing you can do if you're sending a lot of educational emails all the time, and I learned this from watching Russell Brunson's emails, is having a super signature below your email. So in his super signature, I just recommend subscribing to his list or even my list on Single Grain. Is he'll be like, don't know where to get started? Here's this webinar to watch. Don't know where to get started? And there's like, here's the social channels. Here's like the events. All these different things. It can get overwhelming, but I found that, look, if you have a lot of things going on, that might be a possible solution that you can do. And I'm pretty sure 99.9% of you are not doing this.
Yeah, number 2, clean your list. Funny enough, Eric was talking about in the past podcast episode, he's like, I don't get your customized emails. I clean my list. I just learned that Eric doesn't open up my emails. I'm so sad. I actually really am sad.
I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna subscribe again right
thank now. Thank you. It's too late. It's cleaned you off.
Nope, I'm coming back.
All right, thank you, Eric. I love him to death. He's a good friend of mine for so many years. But the point I'm getting at is, what Gmail does is, if you keep sending emails to people who don't open them up, eventually, and most of the providers do this, is they're like, oh, even if they're not marketed in spam, they don't want your email, so we're just going to push your emails in the spam box. Make sure you're scrubbing your list. That way you're only sending emails to people who want to open them. It'll ensure that you have a really high open rate.
Yeah, and this is number 3. So number 3 actually kind of similar to what Neil's talking about too. If you don't clean your list, what tends to happen is, this actually happened in a Single Grain list, you start to get blacklisted. People will start to mark things as spam eventually, because if you keep, the list is going to continue to grow over time, and if you let it get kind of unruly, what happens is you start to get placed on more spam lists, and then your deliverability gets affected, which means a lot of people aren't going to see your emails. So what I noticed with one of our new campaigns was we're sending emails out, we're collecting emails, using paid ads, and our opening email was only like 29%, which is actually really low for an opening email. It should be like, 40, 50, 60% or so on the first opening email. And I was like, okay, what's going on? So we use a tool called Sender Score. You can Google it. Sender Score will show you kind of what your score is, what kind of blacklist that you're on, and then you can figure out how to get off those blacklists. Or you can do what we did. We basically just made a new domain and started sending emails out from that. That's like an interim solution. Ideally, you figure out how to get off those blacklists. You can use a thing to kind of track how you're doing using a tool like Sender Score.
Yeah. What are we on right now? Number 4?
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, with your emails, only a portion of the people that you send an email to is going to open them. So most email tools have an option where you can send to unopens. Doing this one thing should get you closer to 40-50% open rates on all your emails, assuming you're also cleaning the list, which is my first thing I mentioned. So what I do is every week, all the people, when I send out my Tuesday email who don't open it, by the time it hits around Saturday, I resend it to all the unopens, and I just use a little bit of a different subject line. I may change a word or two, and it allows me to get more opens, more clicks, more engagement, more traffic.
All right, number 5. So look, if you're sending emails out, and there's a bunch of people that send emails with like a bunch of links in them, a bunch of images and all this stuff, and maybe it's like, custom designed. Make it simple. Instead of putting a bunch of links in there, because, not even search engines, but emails are considered to be promotional when you have a bunch of different links in them, a bunch of different images, and there's this whole extravaganza going on. So keep it simple, keep it stupid, send an email out, and ideally you're just trying to drive them to one thing, and you're not putting a bunch of media around it.
Yes, and what Eric's pretty much getting across, which gets me into the last point, or my last point, is don't send HTML-based emails with templates. So MailChimp, all these providers have all these fancy email options. When you get these fancy emails, even if you're only doing one message and you're just doing a fancy email design, one link, one message, you're not having a ton of images, but you're using one of these templates, Google will be like, oh, someone sent a fancy email. This is probably promotional. Put it into the promotions tab. When your friend emails you, it's typically a text-based email with maybe just one link. Following that format, making it super casual, and you can even do that with your subject line, but making it super casual, like you got to check this out, or something that's lowercase, is more like a friend messaging you versus sending a nice templated design, proper subject line, all that kind of stuff decreases your open rates.
All right, so number 7, last but not least, write the 9-word email. So this is from a copywriter named Dean Jackson, and here's the idea. when you write a 9-word email, let's say Neil's throwing a mastermind before, he might email his list. Hey, look, I'm throwing a mastermind in Las Vegas. In the next couple of days, and only 20 people can come. Are you interested? Right? There's going to be a good amount of people that say they are interested, or he might have some special offer. You do that 9-word email. It's very simple, it's to the point. Think about an offer that you have. And whoever replies, you can easily just get a conversation going. Ideally, this is something that's probably a little more higher ticket. But look, I've done it a couple times, and it does work for even events, for example, right? You want to see who's in, who's willing to be a sponsor, whatever. Try to figure it out, and try to tie that in with a offer that you have that converts really well. So that is it for today. But before we go, we need your help getting to $1 million a month. So we're right now at 800,000. Go to marketing-school.io/stats to track where we're at. We need your help giving to us so we can give back to you. Rate, review, subscribe, and share this podcast. And then the live event will happen in LA. And we're gonna do a bunch of cool things. We're gonna hang out. You're gonna learn a lot. You get food. It's gonna be recorded as well. Again, please rate, review, subscribe, and share this podcast. Help us, help you, and we'll see you tomorrow.